How's it going, guys? This is Al. Thank you for tuning in once again to this YouTube channel. Appreciate y'all being here. We're going to talk about the top 5 running backs for your fantasy football team this year. I might even throw you a bonus one at the end. In return, I ask for 3 clicks. That's it. That's all I need for payment. Click the like button on this video. That's 1. Be sure that you subscribe to the channel. That's 2. And make sure you click that notifications bell right next to the subscribe button so you can get notifications every time that I come out with a new video here on YouTube. So thank you for tuning in, and let's get right to it. There are 5 running backs on top. I told you I'm going to give you a bonus one. They're all going for a very premium price. If you look at the running backs and how they did last year, there's a reason why people are paying for these running backs. It's not because, well, the running backs last year did great, so the running backs this year are also going to do great. It's because these running backs have a path to success. They have a path to volume. There's nobody standing in front of them on the depth chart. And the first one, the number 1 rookie on the depth chart for me, is Saquon Barkley. This kid is going to absolutely tear it up. He is ripping it up in camp so far, even though they're just a week in. I mean, they spent a ton of draft capital on him. Right now, his ADP is about 7.5 overall. He goes behind 1 wide receiver. He's the 6th running back off the board. Easily projectable for 1,500 scrimmage yards. Could very easily top 60 receptions on the year. He is a beast out of the backfield. Expected to get a lot of the goal line work, even though they did sign Jonathan Stewart in the offseason. The questions behind him are, does he have enough of an offensive line to get things done? Do they have a ton of passing weapons in this offense with Evan Ingram and Odell Beckham Jr. and Shepard? Is he going to get maybe overshadowed? And I don't think he's going to, based on his acumen out of the backfield. And as good as a receiver as he is, they're going to have to rely on him very heavily. I'm expecting 60-plus receptions. I'm expecting over 85, 90 yards from scrimmage every single game with the possibility of touchdowns. If you want to look at how people that are at the camp are looking at it, Jordan Ronan says that Saquon Barkley, receiver, is a beast. Number 2 overall selection. Took a screen pass from Eli off his shoe tops, turned it into a nice game. There is no linebacker or safety that can guard this kid out of the backfield. He's going to present problems in the passing game. I don't think that you can bring the safeties up because of the passing weapons that they have. Barkley's just going to be an absolute monster. Moving on to number 2, Darius Geis, for me, from the Washington Redskins, is going to be the number 2 running back in these rankings. Right now, he is the RB18 overall, going with an ADP of around 36. So you're going to have to spend either a low second or a 3rd-round pick to get him if he's the guy that you want on your team in a snake draft. He should get the Lions' share of the carries as well as the goal line work for Washington this year. He is not going to be the 3rd down back as Chris Thompson's going to be there, but Thompson's going to be capped at like maybe 10, 12 touches a game, which leaves a good 20 touches a game for somebody like Darius Geis. He has the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's not somebody who can't handle work in the passing game. His deal with Pass Pro, just like every rookie running back, is going to define how much he can stay on the field on passing downs or in passing situations, because you can't just run Chris Thompson out there every time. He will wear down. That's just who he is. Assuming the goal line work, Geis has tremendous upside, even as only a 2-down back. Next back is Rashad Penny. For me, 21st running back off the board right now, 43.9 overall, and dropping. He's falling because of that press conference that Pete Carroll had saying that Chris Carson is going to be the main guy. If you want to believe in coach speak, if you want to go with all the narratives, yeah, sure, that's a very realistic possibility. But to me, you don't spend the draft capital that you spent to acquire a guy like Rashad Penny to just sit him on your bench and do absolutely nothing. This was pointed out very well by John Paulson from 4 for 4. Went back and referenced, since 2000, there's been 6 running backs taken from the 20th pick through 32 that have started at least 9 games as a rookie. They averaged 18.3 touches and 14.6 PPR points per game. I personally have Penny pegged at about 12.9 points per game on my projections, and that is obviously lower than what these guys have performed, partially because of the offensive line in Seattle, partially because they have to throw the ball to be effective. Russ Wilson probably going to cut into his touchdowns a little bit around the goal line. Not a ton. He's not going to run in 7, 8, 9 touchdowns. Most of those are going to go to the running backs. But he is throwing in those situations. Losing Jimmy Graham, taking that player off the board, around the goal line for the Seahawks definitely makes him a little bit more palatable to me. So I just kind of think that Penny is the number 3 guy. Even with the talk about Carson, I'm not coming off. Penny's still the running back to own here in Seattle. Moving on to number 4, and this one is a little bit of a leap of faith, and I understand if you're not there with me, but I really feel that Ronald Jones is the number 4 rookie running back that you should be interested in on your rosters for fantasy football in 2018. I think he wins the job outright. There were 4 running backs on this roster last year. It's a little bit of a cluster. We understand that, but the 3 that are returning in Sims and Barber and Jacquizz Rodgers are really not the explosive type back that Jones is. None of them have the home run ability and big threat ability that Jones possesses on this team. I have him projected at 11.2 fantasy points per game. I think that losing Jameis Winston for the first few games of this season on suspension might actually help the workload for Ronald Jones early, as the Bucs will probably have to rely a little bit more on the run instead of allowing Ryan Fitzpatrick to throw the ball 35 plus times. So having somebody like him on your roster, he's going as the 27th running back so far. Right now, he's the 27th running back overall. That puts him at a 57 pick ADP. That's where he's slotting in. So he's not costing you the draft capital of the 3 running backs that are in front of him. And his big playability, especially in best ball leagues, where if he breaks off a 70, 80-yard catch for a touchdown, puts you in a position to have a guy that's going to make a big impact, should start early in the year, and allow you to really roll on with your squads. Moving on to my next running back, it's going to be Sony Michel. Now, the 24th running back off the board, costing you a little bit more than Ronald Jones, 52nd overall ADP right now. People want to know where he's going to slot in, and everybody's always afraid of running backs for Belichick, running backs on the Patriots. If we look at weeks 8 through 14 from last year, once Mike Gillislee was a healthy scratch pretty much every single week, we saw that Rex Burkhead got 37% of the snaps, Dion Lewis 36% of the snaps, James White 33% of the snaps, and they were extremely effective for your fantasy teams in that role. So I don't see why without Dion Lewis, Sony Michel should not slot right into that Dion Lewis role, run the ball 10, 12, 15 times a game, get 3-4 targets a game, get some opportunity inside the 10-yard line. I'm not going to think he's going to get the goal line work. I believe that goes to Rex Burkhead, which means that he has the opportunity to score touchdowns, but not the touchdown upside of somebody like Burkhead. And people are worried about his fumble rate, right? He had the worst fumble rate of all the top running backs that were in this draft, considering his entire college career. But at Georgia, he averaged 1 fumble every 40.3 touches his freshman and sophomore year. That improved to 1 fumble every 61.6 touches his junior and senior seasons at Georgia. A lot of people were freaking out because he fumbled at a practice. If he starts fumbling in preseason games, we know that based on Bill Belichick's philosophy of do your job and just handle it. If you put the ball on the floor, we're just going to bench you. Yes, it is a concern with somebody like Michel, but not somebody that I'm going to shy away from, as I think that they spent a lot of draft capital to get him. I'm less concerned with the Patriots spending a first-round pick on a running back because they don't really have that many positions of need, and it filled a hole that they knew they were going to have to fill with Dion Lewis moving on. So I think that they drafted him to play right away, and as long as he can, handle those ball security issues, kind of like he did his junior and senior year versus his freshman and sophomore, which a lot of people are still holding him accountable for, I think that he should be fine. I have him pegged at 11.4 fantasy points a game. Told you I was going to give you a bonus. And the bonus is Royce Freeman. He's worth mentioning as the 28th running back off the board. He has got a 60 ADP, about 60.2 right now, and it's falling. So you're getting him at kind of a value. People are not really trying to jump up to grab this kid. Devontae Booker, somebody coming back from last year, is the starter as of right now, but everything kind of points to Royce being the guy. If you look at people that are at the camp, beat writers that are at the camp, and people that know people who are at the camp. You got Brad Evans tweeting yesterday, hearing from my Broncos source, that Freeman is exhibiting characteristics of a lead running back early in camp. He's not going to be a big pass catcher. He's a bruiser around the goal line. He's going to be a first and second down back primarily, maybe get 2-3 targets a game. Like, I don't see him as a 5, 6, 7 target a game guy. But if you watched him in college, he is a big brawler. He is going to get in there, be great in short yardage. And if he takes over the early down work and he gets the short yardage carries for an offense that I think is going to be greatly improved this season in the Denver Broncos from what we saw from them last season, I think he makes for a good value pick if you're not going with early round running backs. If you're looking to him to fill out your RB2 or RB3 in a zero running back format, or a wide receiver heavy format, I think he's somebody that you're going to want to pay attention to, especially as camp rolls along. So thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate y'all being here. Be sure to drop a like on this video. Leave me a comment in the section down below. And tune into the next broadcast that we have here on Twitch. I got a whole lot of videos planned for you guys this preseason and all throughout the season. So subscribe to the channel, click that notifications bell, and we'll catch up to you next time. Bye, everybody.